We're going to talk about connecting to your web server via FTP using an FTP client like FileZilla, which you see here. FileZilla is a free download from filezilla-project.org. So once you've downloaded the software and it's available for Mac or PC and installed it, you can launch it. You'll see your window will look similar to this. And you can click on the Open Site Manager icon is in the very upper left-hand corner to configure your settings. And so this assumes that you've already reserved a domain name and arranged for web hosting. Your web host will more than likely provide you with a username and a password to access FTP. And so where you see the host box, you type in your full domain name. My domain is kristenbouffard.com. Because we're connecting via FTP on port 21, which is the default port for FTP, we don't have to change the port number. If your host uses a different port for FTP, you will need to use the information they provide for you. Most hosts are just going to connect FTP on port 21. Server type is going to remain FTP unless you have a host that prefers you to connect on secure FTP. You can select another option there depending on what they prefer you to do. Your logon type will be normal. Your username will be the username that your host provides for you, or if you've set up your own FTP account on your hosting server, use the user address that you create and the appropriate password to access that account. To quick connect, we don't need to configure any other settings. We can just click connect. And in the status window, you'll see FileZilla is letting us know the server status is now successfully connected remotely. And now we have two panes where we can see first the local site view. And in the local site view, you're able to see the directory structure for your local computer. And there's also a remote site view. The remote site view is the directory structure on your web server. And so you can see here, we've connected to the root of the access that this particular account has on the web server. This may not be the publicly accessible web root, so we're going to look for a directory in the remote file structure that looks something similar to public_HTML or public, or what else are they called, HTTP, or sometimes www. These are the folders we want to place documents we want the rest of the world to be able to access on the web. So anything you want to send a link to somebody else to access, you have to put in the publicly accessible root or the web root. So let's say that I want to move a folder from my local hard drive to the remote server. And so I'll take a document, class notes. To move it from my local site to the remote site, I just click and drag and then release, and the file is loaded up onto the web server. You can see the status in the very bottom of the window. And so I loaded up class 08 notes from my local site. If I look now on my remote site, that document is now on the web server, and I could send somebody a link to that document. Just as easily, I can delete documents from the server just by highlighting them. Let's say I want to remove this document now. Right-click and select Delete. FileZilla will ask you for confirmation that you do indeed want to delete this file. You can say yes, and you've deleted that file from the server. And that's as easy as it gets. You can click and drag files from your local machine to your web server. As soon as you connect